approved for the conduct of the sitting members of parliament. We opened nomination for those constituencies from 20th to 25th. At the close of nominations, number of forms that were picked were 400, and number of forms that were submitted was 373. Going unopposed per our analysis is 23. So all in all, we have 137 constituencies. Even though Sunyani is on hold, we had put on hold Akati North and Ketu North. These constituencies are added back to the sitting members of parliament. We had also put Boku Central on hold. This is also put back to the sitting members of parliament. You also realize that Formina is also missing. We had put that one on hold, and it's still on hold as we speak. So we have 137 constituencies, 41 in Ashanti region, 24 in Eastern region, 10 in Central, Western is 9, Northern is also 9, Bono is 5, Bono East is 3, Ahafo is 4, Upper East is 2, Upper West 3, Savannah 3, Northern East is 4, Volta is 3, Western North is 3. Greater Accra is 14. So these are the total numbers. Tomorrow, that the guidelines that we have issued, that vetting is going to start. We have 20 centers, the 15 administrative districts respective to the sitting members of parliament, which is a region that we have. So we're working in 15 regional vetting centers. In Ashanti region, which is the heartbeat of the party, we are having 4 centers. That means that we have 4 committees that will be set up at those particular centers. In Eastern region, we have 3. In Greater Accra, we have 2. And in Central region, we have 2. The rest of the other regions, we have one each. In each of these vetting centers, we have the chairman coming from the national and 2 other members who will be joining the region, that the regional chairman, the regional secretary, and the research will be part, and the 5 election committee members of the various constituencies are set up as they appear before the vetting committee will be included as members of the National Parliamentary Vetting Committee. So the party is set. I'm at the party headquarters as we speak. The chairman of the vetting committees are coming in to pick their guide and other documentations and the filing forms that have been brought for signing by national for them to return to their regions, respective regions, to start vetting tomorrow. So all is set for vetting, and the MPP, we believe that will make it as we did the orphan and the presidential primaries. This is a milestone that we have taken to end all the processes leading to those who will be leading the party in the 2024 general elections.
Absolutely. Haruna, obviously a very elaborate plan you've shared with us, but the party also says that the play field will be level for all aspirants. Talk to us about the measures you have instituted to ensure that this level playing field is realized.
I think that the guidelines for this entire process has been put in the nomination forms. And every aspirant that has purchased the nomination form had the opportunity to read through all the. With respect to this vetting, there is very clear guidelines as to how the vetting is going to go. We have areas that we are looking for and can appeal to the appeals committee. And this appeals committee is headed by Honorable Osei Prempeh, who is the chairman. We have the director of elections, Evans Nimaku, as the secretary to the appeals committee. We have Honorable Opariansa. We have Honorable Madam Esther Ofori. We have R.O. Solomon. We have Professor Emmanuel Flolo. We have Dr. Clifford Brimer. We also have Honorable Eugenia Gifti-Kusi, Dr. Ajima Gudu, and Alhaji Amadou Kalim. Everybody knows him as Amadou Business. So these are members that have been put into the appeals committee. Any aspirant that feels dissatisfied or any stakeholder that feels that there is some information that is supposed to be brought to the attention of an appeals committee or the vetting committee will be put before them. We have to make sure as a national party under the leadership of Chairman Stephen Ntim and the General Secretary to make sure that transparency is key and that everybody is given the level playing ground so that we can be able to come back united, more united than before. And that is what we are looking at for.
Haruna, thank you so much for that. Haruna Mohammed is with the NPP. He joined us on the parliamentary candidates or aspirants, rather, who will be vetted in barely 24 hours.
Well, remember that the parliamentary primaries are scheduled for January 27. My colleague Duke Mensah-Opoku, he's joining us with a bit more on the NPP's activities and the general political activities for the year. That's come up on your screen right now. And so like Kemeni, you've been telling viewers, vetting is on from tomorrow, January 3rd to January 5th. That's the vetting of the aspirants. Then the primaries proper is on the 27th. And then there's a look ahead as well. Outside of the NPP, the NDC's John Mahama is expected to name a running mate in February. And the NDC outstanding primaries are also to take place within the year. The party is yet to officially communicate a date with that regard. And then the vice president, who's the NPP's flag bearer as well, also expected to name a running mate in the first quarter, which is now till the end of March. And so quite elaborate. But for the political event, DC's calendar is yet to be outdoored. That would detail the plan for elections 2024. But even without it being outdoored, we know that there will be limited registration because they've announced that countless number of times during the registration process for the district level election. Then there's a likelihood of the Ghana card coming to play a major factor as the conversations continue as to whether or not it will be the sole identifier to get onto the national elections roll. The NDC has returned to IPAC, and so it will be interesting to get an understanding as to exactly what it is that will be happening. Then the exhibition of nomination as and when it does happen, and then the filing and authentication of the various candidates who will be seeking to go into the 2024 elections as parliamentary aspirant and then presidential aspirant. Duke Mensah-Opoku, like I mentioned, is joining us this afternoon with a look ahead as to what the year 2024 looks like. Duke, we've been detailing for a while now some of the major expected highlights, but talk us through it as well, what it is that 2024 would look like, particularly from the political scene.
Yes, Mawena. So as you have rightly outlined, the first major activity happening this year in terms of the politics of the country has got to do with the governing New Patriotic Party wrapping up its the other leg of its parliamentary primaries. It began that last year with what they call orphan constituencies, and this year it is wrapping up the parliamentary side with the constituencies where they have sitting members of parliament. Right. Already the shocker of about 18 sitting MPs deciding not to run against, talking about parliament and the kind of experience is going to lose and all of that. So that's it. And then it will culminate on the 27th of January with us having that parliamentary primary where it will happen, and then the NPP will elect candidates in about 137 constituencies where they have seats currently in parliament. So that will then close the chapter for the New Patriotic Party when it comes to the parliamentary primaries. But don't forget that Sunyani East constituency, that constituency is still has still not had a resolution to its problems. There are still some issues in that constituency. So this is not going to be part of the parliamentary primaries that will be conducted on the 27th of January. Same with Fomena. You know, that seat is currently held by an independent candidate. There's still some wrangling as to whether he should be allowed to join. That is the second deputy speaker, Andrew Amokwesiama, should be allowed to join the party back, or he should be. I mean, they don't really know what to do in that constituency. So that's also. So these two constituencies and a number of others are quite, they are melting pots. They are simmering points in the political party. The executives are still trying to find out what they want to do with that. Let's go to the NDC. John Mahama has said on the campaign trail, not necessarily a campaign trail, but he's been going around the country on a Building Ghana tour. And he said he's been confronted many times by chiefs and stakeholders about when he's naming his running mate, and some chiefs and people in some regions jostling for candidates from their regions to be running mates. He has said that he will name his running mate in February. That's next month. So that's just a few days or a few weeks away from us. Also, the NDC has some constituencies where they have not conducted primaries. So talking about key amongst them is Ododo,
Right.
where recently there were issues about disqualifications and others. So even though the NDC has across the board done most of the constituencies, there are still some constituencies where they've not conducted their parliamentary primaries. Dr. Bawumia, you know, he was supposed to name his running mate. He was supposed to name his running mate in November last year, but he met the National Council.
Still News Central here on TV3 this afternoon. We're taking you to the Ashanti region right now, where there's still growing opposition to the income tax set to be imposed on owners of ride-hailing vehicles. More drivers across the country are now demanding that the implementation is suspended. Drivers who have already threatened to park their vehicles say they are forced to pay up to 25% in commissions to app owners. Hence, any new tax will prove counterproductive. In the Ashanti region, like I've been telling you about, the situation, according to the driver group in there, is worse. William Evans Inkum is following up on it for us this afternoon. He's joined us for a conversation this afternoon. Evans, many thanks. Talk to us first off about the ride-hailing economy in the Ashanti region. How much of a business is it there?
Well, so until the advent of Pragya or the tricycle, who are now operating on commercial lines, the ride-hailing vehicle, or if you like, the online, commercial vehicle operation was one of the most sought for in the Ashanti region. One thing that were making people actually go for these online vehicles, the fact that their prices or rates was quite moderate compared to the taxi cab and what have you. And it depends on where you're going. And to some extent, you, the passenger, also, you have control over the pricing system. So that was one of the reasons why people were actually going in for, these online vehicles and what have you. But now it is not as popular as it used to be because of the advent of Pragya and what have you. We have been engaging, of course, some of these operators like Franklin, who is just sitting beside me now. I've been with him within the last couple of minutes. And he tells me that it will be disincentive to them because already they are paying 25% commission to the owners of these apps. Now, Franklin, for instance, tells me that he makes 300, on the average, he makes 300 Ghana cedis a day. 25% of the 300 Ghana cedis, which of course, in terms of doing some simple calculation, we are talking about 75 Ghana cedis, goes to the owners of the app. And aside that, he has to make do with 225 Ghana cedis. So now the matter of all deduction, that is petrol, will take some. Then of course the vehicle maintenance, this particular vehicle maintenance will also take some. Then the little that is left, call it a party sum, will be for his upkeep. And extra deduction is going to make life uncomfortable for him. But what is even more problematic is that me, the passengers, I am going to bear the brand because then that particular cost, call it an implicit one, will be transferred to my fare. For instance, with this particular vehicle, my app tells me I am supposed to pay 18 Ghana cedis. That is from where I am to where I am going to my final destination. Right. Now, an extra cost in terms of the VIT will mean that I am going to pay more. But let me just worry Franklin a bit to ask him how this whole thing is going to affect him as a person, as a family man, and what have you. So Franklin, thank you so much for your time. You're live on TV3. This is what you are going to pay to the government set to roll out. How is it going to impact your lives?
Yeah, we are paying already 25% commission on the sum that you will make, concerning the trips that you take. So every single trip that you will take, you pay 25% commission on the app. So in total, when the VIT come into force, we are going to pay extra charges. They are already deducting booking fee, and we are already paying additional tax already. So bringing this VIT into on board, then we are going to have a huge problem. We are going to have a huge problem. Then we have to transfer the extra cost that we are incurring to the riders.
All right, so Mawena, because he's driving, I'm sure we're not going to take much of his time because of the traffic regulation or whatever. But I mean, exactly what I said earlier. So we're looking at the cost implication as far as operation of this ride-hailing business is concerned. And in Mawena, it is obvious.
Right then, William Evans Nkum with details there for us, providing us to up-to-the-minute speed detail with the ride-hailing driver himself as to exactly what it is that is happening.
Indeed, it's a new year and new car owners especially are looking to register their vehicles. Right now, hundreds of them have pitched camp at DVLA centers hoping to get new number plates. Meanwhile, the Driver Vehicle Licensing Authority says it has extended its digital operations to cover more services. TV3's Judith Brown is there for us to put it all into perspective. Judith, good afternoon to you. How was the process? Judith, if you can hear me, I'm asking about how the process has been.
DVLA office here in 37, and of course there's a mad rush for persons who want to register their vehicles or their number plates. Ideally, the numbers here would have been more. Although there's still a mad rush, the numbers would have been more if it was previous years. But now it seems there's a reduction in the numbers of persons that would be registering here, especially now that it's a new year. This is because if you quite recollect, the DVLA announced that they would be putting in some state-of-the-art technological measures that would help reduce the turnaround time for persons who would be registering. And in fact, that has been implemented right here at the DVLA office. And so you can see that the thing, although the registration has been decentralized to other offices, there are also technological measures in place that are helping the process to go a bit faster. And so I've been speaking to some of the customers that have come here to register their number plates or their vehicles, and some of them believe that this process is much better compared to previous years, although others have also expressed some frustration as to the time they've been here all along.
So far it's been smooth, but I would say I was here as early as 5 a.m. Yes, and then we had to queue outside. I think it's because I don't know if they had not set up yet. So around 7:30 thereabout, the gate was open for us to enter. Yes, we went straight to I don't know what they call the place, but for the first inspection to take by the customer. So yes, the officials came. They did their check, and you know, yeah, definitely there will be some human interference here and there. But yeah, so far it's been good.
It's been good. I'm told that there are some technological systems in place to help make the process a bit faster. Have you encountered any of them?
Well, I'm not done yet, so I haven't gone through all the channels. Yes, in terms of the registration. So far, where I've been to, yeah.
I pre-inspection last 3 weeks. So today I came with only the documents for that car. And I came for my invoice. From the invoice, I went to Block D. They directed me to come here for the number. So I'm here to get my number.
Okay, but generally, has it been smooth? What has the process been like?
At this moment, I've not faced any difficulty. That's what I can say.
How long have you been here?
About 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours.
And how many steps did you go through?
From the invoice, I went to the Block D, and then from there I came to here. So I'm still in the process.
Right. How do you think about the process now? Do you believe that this is a much better way to handle the system?
I think we can do better because we are starting it's a new thing, so at least it's expected. The difficulty we are facing is expected.
Are you here to
it's not too much difficult, but I think we can do better.
I came to register my vehicle. They said I'm taking a special number, so they have to take my number this time. I'll be here more than 60. 4 hours. The number doesn't return. When I asked, they said I should wait. The system.
I don't think it's a new system. That's why maybe.
But you have to do it pilot way. Maybe some few people. But you can't just put everybody.
Indeed, Judith, we also know that being a vehicle owner now comes with additional financial responsibility, 100 cedis annual emission tax. Do we have any sense of when the DVLA and, government for that matter will begin collections?
Right, and so if you quite recollect, in the latter part of last year, that is in December, Parliament passed a law on the emission tax that would require that customers pay 100 Ghana cedis for the fumes that are emitted from their cars, and this will be used, of course, to manage issues of the global warming and all that. Basically, we asked whether this is really being implemented, whether the DVLA has been taking this tax, and off record, they've told me that this has not yet been implemented. They are still working on some few measures that they would be able to complete before they can collect this particular tax. But on the issue of prefixes, we know that a number of new offices have been opened for the DVLA in several districts as well as in regions. And so this particular prefix, they're saying that is the Greater Accra Regional Manager. I've been speaking to him and he says that, of course, these new prefixes would correspond with the new offices that have been opened and also with the new regions that have been set up. So, for instance, OT region, there would be prefixes that would correspond with that region. So I've been speaking to him, and this is what he has been saying.
There are additions. Prefix is the creation of the law. If you look into the law LI 2180 of 2012, it's clear. Prefix, every registration comes with prefix. Accra, for instance, the prefix is GR, meaning the number emanates from Greater Accra region. And then the number comes, and then the suffix, which is the year of registration. So, for instance, Accra has prefix and then the suffix. So, let's say GR1, and then the suffix becomes the year of registration. So, yes, there has been a creation of new offices. And by extension, yes, we've added some prefixes. Example, CW represents Winneba, and then CN represent Dunkanofin, and then VA represent Akachi in that order. So once you see the prefix, it depicts where or the station or the region where the vehicle was registered.
Okay, so this is done on a regional basis.
Absolutely, regional and district basis.
Okay, so those regions that have been newly created,
yes,
doesn't mean we are now going to get prefixes for them.
Exactly.
Indeed, if you didn't know what a prefix is, now you do. That's what we do here on News Central. But Judith, we also know that you spoke with the Greater Accra Regional Manager of the DVLA regarding expansion of their digital services to cover more customers of the DVLA and e-service delivery. Let's take a listen to that and we'll wrap up on our conversation.
You know, in the manual system, basically what happens is we use forms, to solicit information, data from vehicle owners. We use form A and then form C. And then what happens is these forms, we don't have control over it. It's the car owners that fill this form. And then filling of this form, there are omissions, especially the owner name, the chassis number and all that. And then if there's omission in the chassis number, that means it changed the condition of the vehicle completely. So these are some of the gaps that happens with the manual system. Hence, our migration from manual to electronic.
And how effective has that been? I mean, we are now in a new year. How effective has that been? When did it really start?
Yes, for the VRS, we call it VRS, Vehicle Registration System, started somewhere alongside the smart card, the smart license card in 2017. But, it hasn't been active till last year. So the whole of last year, yes, VRS was in section, so it's been active for a couple of years now.
Right. And spend when they come to, the offices to get their vehicles registered or anything of the sort?
Yeah, it is. The beauty of VRS is this. There is integration between DVLA, our database, and from the source, from Icons database. So you realize the issue with the manual system where you have to write or type the chassis number, and the likelihood of omission of a figure was high. This time around, it's not so. And then again, you have to go and queue at the bank to make payments. This time it's not so. You can log on to ghana.gov.gh and then effect payments using that credit card, or you can even use able to tamper with, vehicle details and owner details. Why that? Because there's integration between DVLA database and the NIA. So we pull data from the NIA database into our systems, which means the data that we are building is credible. And then you can do this in the comfort of your home, your office, or wherever before you come to our office. And then the numbers are also assigned electronically. Unlike those days where we say, if I want maybe 2020-20, I have to wait when it gets to 19, blah, blah, blah. This time it doesn't happen that way. It's system generated, which means we are building a credible database because we don't massage the data that the owners provide.
Right, right. Now, there's always a mad rush for new number plates, usually at the beginning of the year. People want to have, let's say, 2024 registered number plates. Does this in any way put too much pressure on the DVLA and its operations?
No, the beauty of VRS is this. Almost all the DVLA operational centers.
Well, the manager's head is Atta Mensah Kuma, who is the Accra Regional Manager of the DVLA, in a conversation there with our Judith Brown, who is on ground and gauging the mood as vehicle owners register their cars for the first time this year.
Well, that usual rush for acquiring a new car number plate by vehicle owners was missing at the Western Regional Office of the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority as compared to the same period last year. The situation, according to authorities, could be attributed to the current economic hardship as well as the introduction of the online registration process. Western Regional correspondent Parkojo Peters has more in this report.
Usual rush for a new car number plate that normally takes place at the DVLA office is surprisingly missing here at the Western Regional Office. Last year, this same period, several cars had swamped the car park. So we are here to find out the situation this year.
Today being the first working day in our operations, I must say that they have been very slow compared to the previous years where early morning like this, people will be looking for places to park their cars. But today, it's not like that. The place is almost empty. But we hope as the day moves on, people will be coming to register their vehicles.
According to the Western Regional Manager, Frank Gesese, the situation could be attributed to the online registration that has been added to the registration process.
The online registration has also come to help our processes, especially we are looking at reducing our turnaround time. People coming to form queues in our offices for days before registering their vehicles. That is one of the reasons why. So electronic registration, you need to, the importer and the buyer needs to get their Ghana card, and we do the verification. And once the verification is done, the rest of the process is done at the back office, that is by roadworthy and certificate of title released to you.
According to him, 5 vehicles have gone through the processes successfully, but he hopes things will improve as the days goes by.
This morning we are on the process. Most of the people are now in the queue doing inspection and the rest. So far it is only 5 vehicles that have come through the process, that have completed the process. But most of them are doing inspection and the rest because they didn't come early. So if you can see, the pressure is now building up gradually. So yeah, so far 5 vehicles have passed through the system. Looking at the trend of things, we hope by close of the some 50 will be registered.
Away from that, you cast your mind back to 2023 and you'd recall that it gave the ruling NPP a lot of bad press, with frontal accusations coming from their own stables on how corrupt some appointees are and their deep involvement in promoting Galamsey. A former Environment and Cabinet Minister, Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng, will not hold back in calling out the presidency in the Galamsey fight, accusing it of complicity as key appointees and assigns of the government allegedly were involved in illegal mining. Deputy Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Martin J. Mensah-Kossa, is questioning the integrity of the former Environment Minister, who has called the president's fight against corruption and Galamsey a facade.
How do you rate the Akufo-Addo you know vis-a-vis his fight against corruption, the promises he made in 2016 to 10?
Well, I would rather mark him on the promises and its achievements to the extent that he says, I am not going to condone corruption. Has he or has he not? He has referred members of his government to be investigated. It's a huge achievement.
He says if you want to make money, it's not in his administration, go to the private sector. We have had incidents or cases that people, even from your own store, who have come to say people are amassing wealth, they're looting left, right, etc. That's
I'm here to see anything like who, Frimpong Boateng, or who? I mean, a better person. Sometimes we get angry, we get provoked, but for some reason, I mean, people must be serious in this country. I cannot, if I mind my integrity, begin to back the way it's being done. So what was happening yesterday? Why the sudden noise? You presided what was part of the so much rot that you talk about. Did it have to take the president to relieve you of your position to come and tell Ghanaians there was any rot anywhere? Sheer bitterness. People have to take us serious. And for whatever politics, you hear and see some of these things. But for me, the issue of politics and governance must be made a serious enterprise. Why would you, a minister of state, for all the period that you remained and was part of this system, jump out, and that is where you find all the wrongs in this world about that government? When you begin to talk, I, Martin J. Mensah-Kossa, will watch you double. 2-2. Not about mere 2 sure, but 2-2. Because clearly you are not being sincere. It's much more due to bitterness than anything. Otherwise, it should not take you that much. And you ought to have jumped out yourself. You don't wait to be relieved before you cry foul. You jump out on principle. People must have principles. People must live by principles. And people must respect principles in this country.
Look at Stephen Adai.
Another case of what I'm saying. Okay, Stephen Adai had been an integral part of government, held very important portfolios, headed GRA, a national revenue hub. Okay, and it's only when you are not or you are no more in that office or no more part of government that all of a sudden you find anything wrong with it. Well, I know there are referrals to investigative bodies. Let's wait and see what proofs that they bring. But people's attitude and character, for me, has demonstrated more that they are bitter. They feel they've fallen out of the system and they must fight and discredit the system. And it would have been taken more serious by me earlier under different circumstances than now. I mean, if I feel that this system is corrupt, this is bad, I cannot be part of this, on principle, you step out. Then you are taken serious. But you don't wait till when you are pushed away, and then all of a sudden, you begin to throw in salvos, pissing in from outside, and all, I mean, muddying the waters for everybody. Sometimes we are very much to respond to people in equal measure. We just pray that these provocations will end and the space gets sanitized. Otherwise, I don't really take those things.
Deputy Local Government Minister Martin J. Mensah-Kossa. Now, when we come back here on News Central, we'll bring you an update on the Ada salt mining and matters arising. Don't go away.
Still News Central here from our news hub on the John Hammond Street, and we're taking you to Ada Songo right now because Member of Parliament for the area, Comfort Doyo, says key stakeholders in the Songo mining concession tussle have been formally engaged to suspend all planned actions. She adds that indigenes will be allotted concessions without interfering with Electrochem Ghana Limited's work.
The December 31 deadline by the Adan East District Assembly directing local salt miners to halt their activities in the Eastern Songo Basin has elapsed. This follows the District Assembly's receipt of a purported official notice from Electrochem Ghana Limited of its intention to start operations on January 3, 2024. Electrochem has 15-year mining lease to mine salt in the area. The site the local miners have been asked to vacate falls under the company's jurisdiction. Although there is no sign of security deployment in the area, the aggrieved local salt miners say they will protect their source of livelihood. Over 3,000 individuals and families from Luho, Lufrenya, and Aminapa say they will be out of business once Electrochem extends its operations to the area. This has led to tension in these areas. But their MP, Comfort Doyo, is confident of lasting solution to the issue.
They should relax. We are with them. There will be no betrayal. We have already spoken to McDown to hold on. We have spoken to the DCE to hold on. We will judge and see what we can do together. So everybody should just relax. This morning they call me. I think they are panicking. So I told them they should relax. Everything will work for all of us to be happy. They are indigenous. They will work. McDown too will work. So nobody will fold their things and go home. Everybody is going to work.
That's Comfort Doyo Gansa there, and it looks like it's some good news for the indigenes Ada Songo. They've been doing salt mining for all their lives, and so if they will get a part of the concession, that's a good way to go.
Amazing stuff, and hopefully the Member of Parliament sticks to her words and, something truly is done about the situation. Anyway, welcome back to the work week, away from the holidays.
Somebody said, so the holidays, is that
Yeah. The
dirty
December, it's finished.
It's all done.
Clean January has started,
back to
all the
work.
way to the 42nd.
I don't want to think about it, but we're back again tomorrow. I am Mawina Egbeta.
And I am Kemini Amano. Bye-bye.